RuPaul's Drag Race started off in its initial seasons as a parody of other similar reality TV competition shows, primarily America's Next Top Model and Project Runway, so it's no surprise that throughout its run, it borrowed from other shows as well. For its third season of All Stars, Drag Race borrowed the jury voting for the winner aspect of Survivor, though they adjusted this so that the jury of eliminated contestants voted for the top two. Most recently, for All Stars 5, they added in the twist of the entire cast voting who's going home between the bottom X amount of queens, which was, again, clearly taken from Survivor. Even though these twists turned out to be either very disliked by the fans and the contestants or negligible, today I wanted to go over some Survivor advantages and how they could be implemented onto Drag Race. These advantages can be won in mini challenges, thus ensuring their minimal amount and no sexploitation of the pit crew. And some can be found hidden around the set or on the runway. Firstly, there are the challenge advantages and disadvantages, where the former can be used to help oneself, whereas the latter is given to another contestant to make their task harder in the challenge of the episode. Some of the advantages may include things like assigning roles in acting challenges, having more time with the people that are helping you better your material for either the singing challenges or comedy challenges, having more time with the choreographer if you have to dance in a challenge, being allowed to use more conventional materials in the unconventional materials design challenge, assigning queens their makeover partners, and on top of that, you being the only queen allowed to use a look you brought from home, whereas the others would have to create their looks. For Snatch Game, you have a say in where each queen sits, and for example, if you don't have a joke for a certain question, you can decide to be skipped during that round of the game, ensuring a seemingly better performance as a whole. As you can see, most of these advantages can help a queen do better or win a challenge, but it's not guaranteed. It's like we're giving you the opportunity to ensure a win for yourself, and it's up to you if you're going to use it. When it comes to the disadvantages, they can only hinder one queen. In the acting challenge, you have half the time to learn the lines compared to the rest of the girls. In the comedy challenges, you don't get help from a judge and a special guest judge. You're going to the challenge completely blind. For the singing challenges, you don't get feedback from the producers and only get to 1 or 2 takes for your verses. For the challenges where you have to learn the choreography, you are the background dancer for each contestant. So you have to learn everything, thus being more prone to mistakes and the judges seeing them. Then in design challenges, if it's a ball, for example, and you have to do 3 looks, all 3 have to be made there in the workroom. 2 with the fabric provided, 1 with the unconventional materials assigned. For the makeover, you cannot do your partner's makeup, they have to do it themselves. But you are allowed to instruct them, which will obviously downgrade their entire look due to the possible lack of skill from the partner, but it will also take much more time. And for Snatch Game, you don't get to hear Rue's opinion on your character, and maybe you're also put into either hot seat on the panel. These advantages or disadvantages would be won after mini challenges, and their effects are announced right after Rue explains what the maxi challenge is, and what your advantage or disadvantage does. Next are the hidden immunity idols. So here, for Drag Race, they won't be idols like necklaces or actual tiny idols. It will be something small, unsuspecting, and easily hidden in the workroom or on the runway. For example, the hidden immunity idols could be a lipstick with the word immunity on it that you would find in one of those makeup kits that the queens get, if they even still do get them. And inside, instead of the lipstick, you would find a scroll that says that you've just found a hidden immunity item. A tiny white top with teeny tiny rhinestones that will be found on one of the RuPaul statues in the workroom. One of the pictures of Rue in the workroom has him wearing a necklace that's clearly photoshopped. So if a queen lifts the bottom of the picture, behind it there will be a fancy looking necklace that's not made out of wood or seashells, but it's an actual necklace, and that's the hidden immunity item. So you know how in the back of the runway there are those crystal beads? Yeah, let's say one of them at the bottom has a couple of crystals painted black, for example, and those can be detached. That's an immunity idol that the queen can pick up if she sees it while going on or off the runway. And maybe when the queens are going to film their confessionals at the end of the day, imagining that they sit in those chairs where the back of them is just fabric, the back of all of the chairs has written something like "Congratulations eliminations you found a hidden immunity item, and they can use that scrap of fabric as an idol. Once one queen finds that idol, the other chair's fabric is replaced. Those are just some of my ideas. The basic hidden immunity items can be played only when the queens come back on the runway right after they all have walked the runway. The queen that plays the idol is either safe if she did poorly, or if she did well but was unsure of herself, she can still play the idol and be high or win. The latter instance is the equivalent of someone using an idol on Survivor and then not getting the most amount of votes. This item can also be played for someone else. The super hidden immunity item is stronger than the previous one, obviously, so it can be played even after the eliminated queen is announced. So imagine this. You are the eliminated queen of the episode, and right before Rue goes to tell you to sashay away, you pull out the super hidden immunity item and effectively trade places with your opponent that stayed. Or somebody can play this item for you from the back of the stage and they can save you. The temporary and split hidden immunity items work as the regular hidden immunity item does, albeit with the limitations that they come with. Of course, with the hidden immunity items come item nullifiers that are rarely ever given out as mini challenge wins. Essentially, the queen that has the nullifier, if she chooses to play her advantage, before the runway will pick a lipstick of a queen that she thinks or knows has an idol and thinks or knows will play it for the runway. The vote-related advantages from Survivor would be a little hard to implement on Drag Race, given that the voting system is not that often present. However, we can find a use for them. Usually, whenever Rue asks the queens who should go home on the runway, the queen named the most times is in the bottom two, and oftentimes eliminated as well. I'm not implying that what the queens say carry much weight in the eyes of Rue and the producers, but it's a possibility that they do take these into consideration from time to time. So an extra vote would mean that you can name two people that you think should go home, and a vote steal just means that you can go again instead of someone else of your choosing. A vote blocker will just stop someone from sharing their opinion on the matter. The juror removal advantage from Survivor, used oh so well by Queen Vinchelle, also won't find much play on Drag Race, given that there was a jury only once present. However, how about instead of juror removal, you go for judge removal? The advantage on Survivor was present only in the last episode, and we know that on Drag Race there is really no judging, like actual judging in the last episode. But, for example, imagine you are Max on season 7, and you are told by Michelle that you should not wear grey hair only, even though half the cast is always wearing blonde, and grey is much more natural to human hair than bleach blonde. But you are smart, so you know that you cannot argue with the judges. But the last time you won a challenge, you found this little note with your refreshment beverage in Untucked. So, next episode, you're on the main stage with your lovely grey wig, and Michelle goes on to critique you. But you go, hold on Michelle, I found something very useful the other time I was in Untucked, and I think you're going to love it. Michelle raises her eyebrow. It's a judge removal advantage. It allows me to forbid one judge from giving me critiques until I'm eliminated or until the finale. Michelle looks shocked. Max is smiling from ear to ear. Safety without power advantage is played before the work on a challenge commences. A queen will play it after Rue explains the Maxi challenge. And if a queen plays it, she automatically advances to the next episode without having to do the challenge. The positive of that is that she definitely does not go home, but the negative is that she loses an opportunity to win a challenge. The 50-50 coin can also be present. Basically, a queen on the runway will toss a coin. If it lands with the safe side face up, the queen is obviously safe. But if it lands with not safe side face up, the queen places the way she would without any advantages being played. Those were the advantages that I found to be applicable to the show, and I know the fans would dislike most of them, as most Survivor fans dislike when there are too many secret advantages in the game. Remember when Siri was voted out in Game Changers? Remember Janet? Yeah. I mean, it would definitely provide better TV than what we're getting now from Drag Race, and some of the nonsense saves could actually be accredited to the secret advantages, instead of blatant favoritism. And that's it. That's the video. As I've been encouraging you for the past couple of videos, I would love it if you commented in your mother tongues, whichever language that is. Thank you for watching.